Today we are back again with another custom build in GTA 5 Online. That's where I take a beautiful car, throw some upgrades on it so then you guys can mimic it in GTA Online and have a truly beautiful car. Today we are customizing the Dominator GTT, an absolutely stunning vehicle from the LS Tuners update in GTA 5 Online. Now this is a classic car, so we are going to be customizing it just like how you would back in the day from when this car first came out. So with that said, I hope you guys go on to enjoy the video. Be sure to drop a thumbs up on it, subscribe if you're new to the channel and you want to see more content like this, and with that said, I hope you enjoy, and let's get into it. Alright, so the very first thing we're going to be customizing today is going to be the wheels. Now, honestly, I was looking at a couple different rim options for this car, and I think the perfect ones for the build that I'm going for are going to be the COSMO Mark III rims with a black paint job on the rims as well. I think they look stunning. I'm going to be going for more of a classic look to this car, and I think these rims really suit the build. So we're going to be going with the COSMO Mark III wheels. Next up is going to be the spoiler. Now this car has a bunch of different spoiler options and different wing options as well, but I'm not feeling a single one of them. We're going to be keeping the spoiler stock. Next up is going to be the front bumper. We have a couple different options here: stock, primary, and secondary. We're going to keep it stock because we're going to be adding a little bit of chrome to this car. Now, I'm not a huge fan of chrome, but it's going to suit this car nicely and it's going to look really awesome in the end game. Next up, we have the rear bumper. Now, it only has a couple options available, just like the front bumper, but we do have a different styling available, the smooth rear bumper. Now, like I said, we're going to be throwing some chrome onto this car, so I would recommend going with a smooth rear bumper or just keeping it stock. It's up to you, and I wouldn't recommend going with a primary or a secondary color for the rear bumper, just because the look we're going for with this car just would look better with a little bit of chrome. So honestly, I think for the rear bumper, we're just going to leave it stock as well. Next up is going to be the pillar vents. Now there's only two of these that I would actually throw on: the primary pillar vents or the primary pillar scoop. All the other ones are okay, secondary and carbon ones as well, but we're just not going to throw that on. We're going to keep it primary, and I think for this build we're going to go with the scoop because I kind of like the look of it. Next up, we have the exhaust. Now this car has a couple pretty cool exhaust options that you can throw on it. We're going to be going with the exhaust on the rear instead of having them on the sides. And honestly, the chrome tip, the big bore, the straight pipe, and the race exhaust are honestly all great and they look outstanding. But honestly, I think I'm going to go with the race exhaust because I like the way the exhausts look on this car, specifically the race exhaust. And honestly, I think it's going to suit the build nicely, so I'd recommend going with that. Next up is going to be the chassis. Now, if you guys wanted to, you could throw a roll cage in there. Do you want a full roll cage? Honestly, you could throw one in, but I wouldn't. If you want to throw one in, throw in the street half cage, because honestly, I think that one looks pretty good. Next up, we have the grille, where you could either delete the hood badge, delete the grille, or delete both. Honestly, I think we're just going to go with a simple hood badge delete. Even though it looks nice, well, it says Dominator right on the front, I kind of like the look of it without that. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Next up, we have the hood, and we have 18 different hood options for this vehicle. But in the end, we only have 6 because they have the primary, secondary, and carbon. So there's actually only 6 different hood options. And I think the best one is the primary SABRE turbo hood. And that's what I would recommend going with for this build. Next up, we have the over fenders. Now, usually I would like to put this stuff on, especially with this car where it lines up pretty damn well with the wheels. But honestly, I think we're just going to leave it stock. Even though it looks somewhat decent with them on, I think stock is just going to look a little bit better with this build. Next up is going to be the roof, and we can throw some louvers on the back, which honestly doesn't look bad at all. Like, it looks pretty damn nice. For right now, I think we're going to throw on the black plastic louvers just for now. We're going to see how it looks when the build is completed. I'm not too sure if I'm going to keep them or not, but I do like the look of them, so let's just see what happens. Next up, we have the suspension. We have lowered, street, sport, and competition. Now, like I always say, competition is just a little too much. So I think we're going to go with the street suspension or lowered suspension. That's what I would recommend going with for this build or practically any car in GTA 5. Next up, we have the trim. you could throw on a SUNSTRIP or a secondary SUNSTRIP. Now for this build, we're actually going to be throwing on a secondary SUNSTRIP. That's something I rarely ever do, but it's going to suit the build nicely, and you're going to like the look of it in the end game. By the way, be sure to check out Digizani. You could purchase games, gaming accessories, and in-game currency for all your favorite games like GTA 5, Forza, and many more. Use code Frolics at checkout and get a 10% discount. Next up is going to be the engine block. Now this car has a few pretty decent engine block options, but like I said, we're going with a chrome look to this car, so let's throw in the chrome valve covers, because honestly I think those look pretty nice. Next up we have the air filter, which I love when we can throw some pretty nice shit in here. We have 15 different options, which is awesome, and they have a couple pretty cool ones, like for instance the superchargers, which I love, and I think we would go with the chrome supercharger, but it looks like a little too much chrome in there, so we're gonna go with the black one. It looks pretty damn awesome. I love the look of it, and I love superchargers, so we have to put this on. Next up is going to be the strut brace. Now usually I go with the lightened racing strut brace or the extreme billet strut brace, but it kind of blocks off the supercharger, and I want to see that. So either keep it stock and don't throw anything on, or throw on a carbon strut brace, because you can still see the supercharger, and of course, you know, the strut brace is carbon, so it still looks pretty nice. So I think that's what we're going to go with. Next up, we have the hood catches. Now you can keep it simple with nothing. Throw the chrome ones on, throw the angled ones, maybe the straight ones, or the race ones, which are pretty nice, or my personal favorite, the drag hood pins. This just looks awesome. I love the look of this. We have to throw it on this build. Next up is going to be the livery. Now we're going to be throwing on the black double stripes livery on this car. Now you're not actually going to see the stripes on it because we're going to paint the car black in just a minute, but you're going to see why, because I like to keep it simple, and with this livery, there's something very simple that I absolutely love about it. And boom, there we go. The car is completely blacked out there with a pure black paint job, a black pearlescent, and a white secondary color. The reason I threw a white secondary color on is so that on the SUNSTRIP it says Dominator in a nice white paint job, which I really like the look of because it looks nice and it keeps the car looking nice and simple. Now the thing is, do I want to keep the louvers on there? I'm not too sure. So honestly, it looks really, really nice with the louvers off. But it also looks good with the primary louvers on because it's a metallic finish, and having these nice metallic louvers on the back looks really, really clean. So I'm going to leave this one up to you guys. If you want to throw it on, throw it on. But honestly, if you don't want to, by all means, just don't do it because it honestly still looks pretty damn beautiful with them off. Next up, we have the window tint. Now you could fully black the car out, which obviously looks amazing, but you could also throw some lighter shades on. I guarantee barely anybody does this anymore because why throw a lighter shade on when you have the darkest shade available, right? I honestly think we're going to go with light smoke for this because I really like the look of its stock, but I don't want to be driving a fishbowl around, you know what I mean? And completely blacked out obviously looks outstanding, but I'm not really feeling it. I think the perfect one to go with for this build is going to be the light smoke because it looks pretty damn nice. And lastly, we have the headlights. We're just going to change the headlights to a nice ice white. I think it really makes the car pop, and it's the perfect way to finish off the build. Well guys, there we go. We have completed the Dominator GTT build in GTA 5 Online. This car looks awesome. It's nice and simple. And if you don't like this build, you don't have to worry because there is so many different things you can do to this car and customize it so many different ways because it has an amazing amount of upgrade potential, which I love. But honestly, I think it looks outstanding the way it is. I did do another custom build on this in the past. If you guys wanted to check it out, there is a whole playlist to a bunch of custom builds I've done before down below in the description. If you guys wanted to take a look at it, by all means, check it out, see if there's anything you like. There might be a car that you own or you're considering purchasing that you want to customize, but you just don't know what'll suit it well. Maybe you'll find something to help you out in that playlist. Anyways, that is pretty much going to wrap the video up for today. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, be sure to smash a thumbs up on the video and subscribe if you're new to the channel. And with that said, I will catch you guys in the next video.